What's up, y'all? Let's do this.
Oh, hi guys, welcome to Nicky's World. I'm Nicky, your host, and today, guys, I want to talk about what happened in Memphis, Tennessee, with what happened to Tyre Nichols, alright, the black guy that got killed by 5 black cops in Memphis, Tennessee. We got to talk about that, and we got to talk about, like what could be done about this, basically from, like, a libertarian slant, not from the right, left, or Republican or Democrat slant. Just give the center view of it all right? But before we go any further, guys, if you guys love Nicky's World so much, seriously, guys, can y'all please consider donating a cup of coffee for me? Because for the price of a cup of coffee these days at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Cumberland Farms, and all that, you guys help keep this podcast show alive. You guys help me curate more stories, more topics like this to talk about. I do accept Bitcoin donations. I'm also on Locals, guys, if you guys want to support and sponsor this podcast show. If you guys love Nicky's World so much, seriously, please, guys, please hit that like, subscribe, please give me a review. Good, bad, and the ugly. And also, guys, I do have affiliate links with eBay, Amazon, and Shabari Study. If y'all interested in those, the links in the description below. Alright? And if you guys love Nicky's World so much, please consider sharing this across all the social media platforms that are out there today. Woo-wee. Alright, guys, alright. It's another day. I'm on the road. I'll tell you that much. Alright, I'm out and about. Alright. So I'm on the way to work. Just another day in the office. So, anyway, guys, I want to talk about, like, what's happening to that incident in Memphis, Tennessee, that Tyre Nichols incident. I want to talk about that because I'm telling you right now, guys, it is a hot button issue no matter what side of the aisle you're on, guys. It is. It's the hottest button issue in the world. Okay? It really is. It really is right now. But the reason why I didn't come out and talk about it immediately, guys, the reason why I didn't, because I applied the Dan Bongino rule. I wait 48 to 72 hours before the facts come out. I don't discuss it immediately, unlike pundits from both sides of the aisle. Whenever there's a tragedy or a mass shooting or something like that, they will come out immediately and talk about it without getting all the facts and getting all the details. So that's why, folks, I don't talk about it immediately when it comes out. I wait 48 to 72 hours, gather all the details, all the evidence, all the problems and all that, and then from there, I talk about it. And then I give you my spiel on it, my opinion, and my belief what should happen. It's as simple as that, guys. So that's why I don't do what every other podcaster does whenever there's a tragedy or a major incident coming out like this. I don't. I instead apply the Dan Bongino rule, and I wait until all the facts come out on the story. So, without further ado, let's talk about this. And if y'all seen the video which the Memphis PD released, and I will link the videos in the description below for y'all to see for yourself. I'm just going to say this up front. There is no training manual in the world that says that once you rip that you rip a guy out of the car and you beat the snot out of him. That, to me, in my opinion, was premeditated murder. Now Tennessee has a different stance on that, but to me, they're charging the 5 officers with second-degree murder. Now, second-degree murder, depending on how severe it is, Tennessee is a death penalty state, so they can be pretty much facing the death penalty for this. Okay? Pretty much. Unlike the former Minnesota cop, they don't have a death penalty up there in Minnesota, so he's basically doing life without parole. He'll basically never see freedom ever again. He will never, ever. Okay? But what happened in Memphis, Tennessee? I know there are law enforcement officers out there that are saying that is unexcusable. The second he has his hands up, he's in cuffs, he's in handcuffs, we're done. Finished. He goes to the county jail. He gets booked. There you go. And let the courts deal with that. But for the 5 officers to continually beat the snot out of him till he's unconscious, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, that is basically second-degree murder right there. If I were the prosecutor, I'd upgrade it to capital felony murder. I'd upgrade that to capital felony murder and let the jury hang him. Pretty much. But to me, you can't like cover for this no matter how many angles you can look at it. You can't cover for this no matter what. There is no amount of hazmat suits that is going to clean up this mess. Pretty much, guys. There is no amount of hazmat suits out there, okay? It is basically a cut and dry case. What those 5 cops did, in my opinion, they should be facing the death penalty alone. They should be facing the death penalty. On top of that, guys, the left has a lot of responsibility for this too. The left, okay? The blame squarely is on the left too, guys. Alright? The left can't say, oh no, this is white supremacy issue. This is like white supremacists who did this. The left has a lot of responsibility for this because you know why? They know that their defund the police movement has caused this. Their diversity hiring practices caused this. So there is no amount of wiggle room that can basically get them out of this. There is none, ladies and gentlemen. There is none. Zilch. Zero. Nada. There is no way they can get away with this. There isn't. They're culpable as well as the 5 black police officers. It's as simple as that. And the fact that the left is saying, "Oh, white supremacy caused all this," how asinine, stupid, and fucking retarded that you have to believe, and you go on TikTok saying, "Oh, white supremacy caused this. White supremacy caused this." How is it white supremacists, or how is it white supremacy if 5 black police officers killed another black person? I'm waiting for the explanation here, leftists. I'm waiting. I want to hear your explanation and how you're justifying this. I want to know. I'm waiting to hear it. I'm waiting to hear how Antifa, BLM, and the Democrat liberals are justifying that, oh, it's white supremacy fault, when they're ignoring the fucking elephant in the room, which is black on black crime, because it doesn't fit their core narrative of anti-white, anti-male narrative. That's what's really going on here, folks. It is. It really is. Yeah, that's what's really going on here. And by the way, guys, hella good coffee. And also, I want to say this. No amount of training is ever going to weed out these cops. Okay? No amount. Look at what defund the police movement has done. Look what, defunding the police has gotten us. The left was all on defund the police movement when George Floyd died. Okay? When George Floyd died and what happened in Ferguson, the defund the police movement and the Democrats were up in arms and in droves, demanding that law enforcement was defunded. Yeah, look what defund the police movement has gotten us, you dumbass. You got a police chief who previously worked at Atlanta, Georgia, was fired for mishandling a child exploitation case, and now she's the chief of Memphis PD, and now she's going to mishandle this case? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry to say this. No amount of sheer stupidity is ever going to gloss this over. No amount of leftist stupid is going to cover this. No amount whatsoever, guys. None whatsoever. Because quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, quite frankly, guys, this is the result of liberal policies failing on a grand scale. It is, guys. It really is. It's the result of leftist policies run amok. Okay? And I have to say this, guys. I really have to say this. The fact that you have people, okay, who are so entrenched with the idea of, if you defund the police movement, society will be better. No, you dumb motherfucker. You defund the police movement, then you get idiots and jackasses who who should have been weeded out in the process would have never been cops in the damn fucking first place. The fact of the matter is, guys, is like this. The left is so entrenched on defunding law enforcement. They're trying to blame white supremacy for this. They're trying to cover saying, oh, it's white supremacy's fault. But they're ignoring the fact that this was actually an example of a black-on-black crime that BLM should be fighting against, but instead they're blaming white supremacists for it. And they're ignoring the fucking 600-pound gorilla in the room. It's frankly like sheer stupidity, guys. It's frankly sheer idiocy at its finest. It really is, guys. It really is. The fact here is like this. You got a black guy who died at the hands of 5 black police officers. Now, you got to sit there and explain to me this. How can the left say it's white supremacists' fault when the perpetrator and victims are all black? It is sheer lunacy. Really. It is. It is sheer lunacy right there. It is. That's why it's like this. I've heard a lot of both sides were saying, oh, we need more training. We need more training. You don't need more training, dudes. You do need a better process in weeding people out. You really do. You really do, guys. You really need a better system to weed people out. In fact, I'll say this on the podcast show. I think there should be zero tolerance on police officers. The second you get arrested for something, you're fired. You're off the force. Simple as that. Simple as that. Heck, I'll give you an example. We have people in the United States of America who are responsible for nuclear weapons. They're responsible for weapons that can end civilization as we fucking know it. The government puts a policy in place where if you are arrested for anything, don't matter what, domestic violence, drunk driving, and all that, you're off the nuclear force. You're off taking responsibility for nuclear weapons. They kick you out immediately. The reason why for that, guys, is because there's zero tolerance for people like that. Because the government knows, how can we trust you with nuclear weapons knowing that you got arrested for drunk driving at a party somewhere? That should be the same policy for law enforcement. And if you get arrested for anything, it don't matter if you got arrested for public intoxication. You're kicked out until the case gets adjudicated. Okay? And if you end up going to jail, you're fired immediately. Just simple as that. But the fact of the matter is, guys, the fact here is that we're letting too many officers who have bad records, bad reputation. We are. My solution to all this is a lifetime ban on police officers. If you were caught committing a crime, you're banned from law enforcement for life. That means you will never be allowed to work in any capacity of law enforcement. That includes private security. It does. Because you know why? private security still gets people who were former police officers who probably got kicked out because of bad conduct or a bad arrest. and because they were prior law enforcement, they were in lieu of having to go through the criminal justice system, they were forced to retire out. They were forced out. So now it's like this. Now, I'd say like this. It's time to reform law enforcement. One, this is my take on this. One, every year a police officer has to be subjected to a psychiatric interview. That means they have to sit with a psychiatrist and be interviewed. It'd be like a job interview, but it's just to make sure that they're safe, sane, and that they're not going to do anything fucking stupid. And if we find any hint of that through the psychiatric interview, then they're taken out until the chief decides what to do with it, or whatever the psychiatrist recommends. Like they say, well, we don't recommend this person being out on patrol, but we do recommend them for administration duties, which means they could be training and all the other fun shit. Yeah. But believe me, guys, believe me, the weeding out process for police officers has to be done real strictly. That means it's like this. You have people who want to be police officers. Sometimes they're wavered just to get in. There should be certain things that you should not be allowed to waive. Okay? There should be things that like, I'm sorry, we can't waive that part of the process. That is set in stone. We cannot exempt anyone from it. Like say background, psychiatric evaluations. That can't be waived. If you want to be a police officer, every police officer should be mandated to sit in front of a psychiatrist. They should. The reason for that, guys, is that psychiatric interviews, a psychiatrist can figure out if that person's fit for the job. If they are not fit for the job, I'm sorry, they're gone. They're done. They're finished. We don't need them. We don't want them. They're done. They don't belong there. They don't. They really don't. But the other thing is, guys, we need to strengthen background checks. Actually, a good example for this, if you look at the submarine force, the United States Navy submarine force, to work on a submarine, you'd have to literally have an FBI interview. The FBI literally has to go out physically and interview anyone that you put down on the application as someone that has known you, that has contacts with you. The reason for that, guys, is like this. The interviews from the FBI alone would probably say, I don't think I should sign up to be a cop. I don't want the FBI to find out, like, my this and this and this. That would deter enough, okay? Because I look at it like this. If you got to be interviewed by the FBI to have a top secret job with the U.S. government, or to be an NP guarding our nuclear weapons and nuclear stockpile, then you should go through the same process to be a police officer. Okay? You should. Now, the one thing I do want to say is like this. There are some on the left who think that cops in America should act more like cops in the UK. I just can't see that ever happening here in this country. I just can't, man. Because look at the kind of people you're dealing with in this country versus the kind of people you're dealing with in the UK. The kind of people you're dealing with in this country are the kind that you literally sit there and go like this. No cop in America would ever want to go out on the street like the cops in the UK. No, because you know why? They just can't. They just can't. I mean, if you like the UK style of law enforcement, by all means, go live over there. But here, we just need to do a better job in rooting out people who shouldn't be there in the first place. Yeah, we need to do a better job. My guess is like this: Memphis PD is responsible for all this because they were forced to lower standards and basically hire based on diversity, equality, and inclusion. And look what we get. We get people who should not be police officers in the first place. We get people who should never had a badge or carry a gun. Yeah. That's what we get, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we really get in this world. We get people in law enforcement who I feel should not be carrying a badge or gun whatsoever. They shouldn't. Let alone a security guard card. They shouldn't. In my opinion, folks, we need to do a better job at weeding out people. Okay? We really do. People who, for some reason, pass a background to be a police officer, they probably lied their way through it, probably cheated the polygraph. My thing is, we need to hold police officers to the same standard as holding a nuclear weapon. We really do. And if that means making them face an FBI interview or having the FBI visit whoever you put down as your reference, so be it. Yeah, so be it. But believe me, guys, believe me. This is why we have incidents like this. Because the left is all about, diversity, equality, inclusion. We need to basically, defund the police crap. Yeah. That's what it got in us, guys. That's what it got in us. And believe me, guys, believe me. This is what we get as a result of defund the police movement and hiring based on diversity instead of people who are fit for the job. Yeah, guys. That's what we get. I'm sorry to say this. Damn hell, man, that's good coffee. That is way good coffee. That is, guys. But believe me, guys. Believe me. I feel sorry for what happened in Memphis to the victim. I mean, that's not going to bring the victim back. That's not going to make it any better. But if you ask me, that's not going to help at all. It isn't. It really isn't. But the one thing I do know is like this. What happened in Memphis, Tennessee is wrong on so many levels. It is wrong no matter how you slice it, how you call it, or what you say about it. It is wrong on so many levels. It is, guys. It really is. But believe me, I know police officers around the country aren't justifying this. They seen the video and they're like, nah, man, nah, that's not. they wouldn't even do it. They wouldn't even do it as well. So many of them are like distancing themselves from it and are saying, "Nah, that's not cool, man. Not cool. Not cool. Not cool." Yeah, they really are, guys. They're distancing themselves from it. So they're sitting there going, "Not cool, dude. Not cool. Not cool. Not cool." But believe me, guys, believe me, I agree with a lot of people in law enforcement. Based on what the videos portraying out there, and you can see the video for yourself, once the guy is in handcuffs, he's done, okay? What those cops did, beating the living shit out of him, even though he was complying, getting and having his hands out, that's uncalled for, man. That's uncalled for. That in my opinion, guys. And even for me, I'm not in law enforcement, but I see the video. That is murder right there. How they beat up a guy so badly that he died in the hospital days later. That's murder. That's murder. And in my opinion, guys, any cop that commits a crime like that, their qualified immunity should be revoked immediately. Yeah. Remove qualified immunity from law enforcement who commit a crime. Right there. Right there on the spot. No ifs, ands, or buts. That means if you're a police officer and you commit a crime right there on the spot, right there immediately, you don't get qualified immunity anymore. You do not get protection anymore. You are not covered anymore. It gets revoked in seconds. Your qualified immunity gets thrown out the door. It does. And to me, guys, this is why I am all for removing it. I am all for it. I am all for revoking qualified immunity from any law enforcement personnel who commit a crime. The second that they do that, their qualified immunity gets thrown out, gets revoked, gets removed. They don't get protection from qualified immunity. They don't. They are done, finished. And it should be put into law, both state and federal. It should be a law that says if you're a law enforcement officer, you commit a crime, your qualified immunity gets thrown out the window. Sorry about that, folks. Your right to qualified immunity gets tossed out. Okay? It's done, finished, finito. It is kaput. It is. But believe me, guys, this is the reason why we need such laws like that. Get rid of qualified immunity from law enforcement. Get rid of it. Yeah, just get rid of qualified immunity immediately. Just get rid of it, and basically it'll be a whole lot easier. It would. And in fact, guys, it would make a whole lot of sense, because you know why? Here's the reason why. Here's a clear reason. Okay? Here's a clear reason. Why would you want to give qualified immunity to law enforcement who commits a crime? Why? Why would they? Why? It'd be bad on so many levels. It would. It would be. It would be horrible. It'd be horrible on so many levels out there. Okay? It would be. Now for me, guys, one thing I'm all for, guys, is that citizens having the right to defend themselves even if law enforcement is doing something stupid. I am one of those people who firmly believe that citizens have the right to self-defense, even if they believe that what law enforcement is doing is wrong. What law enforcement is doing is criminal. Okay? I believe in justified self-defense against law enforcement. Okay? That's what the court's for. That's what the courts are there for. The courts are there to adjudicate any dispute and issue. That's what courts are there for. That's what they're designed for. Yeah, that is what they are there. Alright? But believe me, guys, believe me, I am all for, and this is my stance on this one, that if you feel threatened by a police officer who basically is abusing their power, abusing their position, I believe you have every legal right to defend yourself. I believe you have a self-defense right to protect yourself. Okay? That's firmly my belief right there. My firm belief is that you, as a citizen of the United States of America, have a clear right to self-defense that is defined in the Constitution. You have a right to Second Amendment, too. And this is why I am one of those libertarians that firmly believe that you have every right to defend yourself, even if a police officer is doing something that is illegal. That if you feel that a cop is about to threaten you with your life and threaten to take you out, I believe you have every legal right to defend yourself. That's my firm belief. I believe that. I believe that in the Constitution. I believe that is a constitutional right. Okay? Now you'll get people who will say, "Oh, you're this and this and this." No, I'm pro-Constitution. I'm a constitutionalist. I am pro-Constitution for a reason, because I believe that defending yourself is a constitutional right. You have that right. You have that constitutional right to bear arms. You have that right to defend yourself. Okay? Now you'll have some law enforcement saying, "Oh, you're saying that people should be shooting at cops." No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is they should defend themselves if they perceive and believe that a cop is being belligerent, threatening them, or basically violating standard rules and protocols. It's as simple as that, guys. It is. It's a simple process. If a cop is abusing their position, abusing their authority, violating department standard operating procedures, and you feel threatened by that, you should have a right to defend yourself. And you should be able to say to that officer, "I'll see you in damn court, bitch." You should. I'll see you in court, and immediately your public immunity is revoked. I'm a firm believer of that policy. I am. Because you know why? Too many law enforcement abuse their power. Too many law enforcement abuse their badge. And to me, guys, this is where citizenry should have a right to defend themselves. Citizens should be able to stick up and say, "No, we are not dealing with this. No, we are not going to let you do this." No. Citizens should be able to say to a police officer, "You're not putting cuffs on that guy because we believe that you are abusing your powers that we gave you. And if you don't like it, we are going to take you out. That should be standard here. That should be standard policy here. Okay? That should be standard by saying to law enforcement that if you feel that they're abusing their power, abusing their privilege, abusing their system, you should be able to sit there and say to them, nope, we are not letting you do that anymore. We're going to revoke your right to be a police officer, and we're going to revoke your public immunity. I would agree to that in less than 5 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. I would agree to that in 5 seconds. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me. I would do that in no time flat. I would. I literally would. Yeah. I literally would. But that's why, to me, guys, that's why for me, I firmly believe like this. I firmly believe that we as citizens should have our own police force. Because you got to remember, the government has their own police department. We as citizens should. That's why I'm all for the sheriff system. The sheriff system is great. You know, sheriff system's a lot better than the police system that we have right now. And there's a good reason for that, guys. There's a good reason why the sheriff system's a lot better than the police system. Because here's the thing. The police officers are only held accountable to the politicians. Sheriffs, on the other hand, are held accountable to the voters. And the voters are the ones that decide whether to have an elected sheriff or not. And sheriffs are elected, and their terms are as written by the bylaws of the city, county, or state. Whereas in counties it'd be put in there by saying, hey, look, sheriffs are elected to a term of every 4 years, just like governors. So we're going to tie the sheriff's election to the governor's, which means every 4 years you get a new sheriff. Okay? So which means sheriffs have to be elected like governors. And if we don't like the sheriff, we say, nope, we're going with this sheriff because he promises to do things that you tried to do, but you couldn't do it. Yeah. So that's what I'm for. That's what I believe, and that's what I'm going for. Yep. But believe me, guys, believe me, I'm all for it. I'm all for that type of system. I am. I literally am. But that's why it's like this. Even the sheriffs are like voted in, but the deputies are hired. So the sheriff has to be voted in by the people, by the county. The county residents have to decide who they want to be their chief law enforcement officer for the county. The person that says, hey, we're the ones that decide what can and can't be okay. Yeah, I'm all for it, guys. I really am. But I say this, guys. I will say this. I'll say this wholeheartedly. All right, is that one thing what we do need is to basically reform law enforcement. We do need to get rid of guys that don't need to be there. I'm sorry to say this. We don't need to hire police officers based on diversity, equality, and inclusion. We don't need that, man. That's not what we want. What we do want, ladies and gentlemen, is basically police officers who can do the job, who aren't corrupt, who aren't like basically thugs who basically want to have a badge and gun, who think that they can bully you and all that shit. Nah, man, we don't need that. We don't, man. I'm against that, and I'll say this: I'm dead set against it. I really am. I'm all for like hiring police officers, okay, who care about the community, who I think like this: if you care about the community so much, you should be living in the community that you work in, or if you live in the community next door. Let's say if you live in a neighboring town, like next door, across the border, then you'd be allowed to work there. But if you don't, but if you live somewhere else, you have to move. Or if you got hired by the town, but you live, like say like another, like halfway across the state, you have to move there within say 90 days. You have 90 days to move, to find a place to move there and to work there. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. And I'm all for it. I am basically all for the process. I am, and that's how I look at it. That's how I really look at that. And at the same time, guys, I firmly believe in a policy like this for law enforcement, where that the only time you can use deadly force is if your life's in danger. If you know that you're about to die in something, then you should be allowed to use deadly force. But if you know that you're not going to be in danger, and you go to, say, a call that's domestic that turns into a fight, no. You shouldn't be allowed to use lethal force. A taser would be appropriate. Pepper ball gun would be appropriate, or a canine. But no. That'd be the only time you're allowed to whip out that gun against someone, if you feel that you're in danger. If you feel that your life's in danger. Now you'd have to justify that in court, and if the court agrees to it, we would say, okay, it was justified. Prosecutors gave us the ample evidence. We saw the video. We saw multiple videos, and we can say, yeah, it was legit. It was a legit. The cop was threatened. His life was in danger. The perp was lunging with him with an axe or a knife or a gun, and we had no choice but to shoot. That would be the only time that would be justified. Other than that, no. I wouldn't justify it one bit. I wouldn't even justify it. I would say like this: cops would have to be subjected to the same standards as military police officers. Military police officers, you have to use the level of force. Okay, I believe there's like 5. I would have to check that with my friends who are MPs, but I will say this, guys. There are levels of force required to get a person to comply, and that should be required in police departments. You'd have to resort to everything, and that means you'd have to document that we did everything we could to get this guy to comply, but he lunged at us with a baseball bat, a knife, a gun. We had no choice but to put him down because he lunged at us. But if you had a guy with less lethal, but if you had a guy lunged at you with a baseball bat and you shot him with, like, say, a beanbag shotgun or a less than lethal weapon, and he all of a sudden complied, Yeah, that's good. Perp got arrested, put in handcuffs, was put in the paddy wagon, got sent to the county jail. Sheriff dealt with him from there. And the sheriff could say, well, we can deal with him there because he is in our custody, and we have him right there. It's as simple as that. It is. It's a simple process. And I believe that should be the process. I believe that should. Okay? I believe that should be the way to handle it and deal with it. It should be the way. Because you know why? It should be the way to deal with perps like that. It should. Why then, like, do we need to, like, why then do we need officers to beat the living shit out of people for no fucking apparent reason? Why? Why then? Why? Because it doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work. A lot of these people who think that, oh yeah, you beat a guy down till he's unconscious, and then you handcuff him, and then all of a sudden he dies, and then it ends up like what happened in Memphis. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I don't think so, and I don't think that should fly. I don't think as well, man. But believe me, ladies and gentlemen, believe me, it's clearly wrong. You know what I mean? It is. It's clearly wrong. It's clearly uncalled for. And I say like this, guys. I say this. It shouldn't happen in the first place. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't, man. It really shouldn't. But I'll say this, guys. What happened in Memphis, Tennessee is so wrong on so many levels. It really is. It is wrong. It is wrong on so many levels. Even I saw the video. It made me flinch so badly. I say like this. If I ever become a police officer or corrections officer, I would never do what these assholes have done. I would never do it. I would never in a trillion years do it. I would never. But what these officers did, I suspect they made half of the entire police departments in the United States flinch and go, that's nuts. I can't defend that. They can't defend that no matter how bad it is. It's like basically the worst train wreck in fucking human history that made people go, I can't look, but yeah. So that's why, guys, stuff like that, you know you can't defend it anymore. You know you can't. You can't. You can't even defend it no matter how hard you fucking try. You really can't, guys. You really can't. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, believe me, I wouldn't even defend these 5 black cops for what they did. I wouldn't. I'd be like, yo, guys. I'd be like, yo, on your own, mate. You screwed yourself. You did this to this perp, to your own kind even. It's like, you're on your own on this one. I'll let the courts hang you from the pillars over this one. Yep. I really do, man. I really do. But I feel sorry for Tyre Nichols, who's the victim in all this. And it's like this. And I go like this. What should have happened was that the second that he complied and put and had handcuffs on, they should have stopped right there and said, call the paddy wagon, get him to the sheriff's, get him to the county jail, let the county jail deal with him. Let the sheriff deal with him while he's in their custody at the county jail. And let that happen. But what the 5 Memphis police officers did, they went way above that. and beat the living shit out of him. For no fucking reason, no justification, nothing. I say this up front. It is nothing more than murder. Okay? These 5 cops, in my opinion, if they get the death penalty, so fucking be it. Okay? If they get life without parole in prison, so be it. It's like I know there are police officers out there who are probably coming out saying, I can't defend these guys. Even though they wore a badge and a gun, I can't defend what they did. That is beyond inexcusable. That is a level that you can say, no, you can't cover for this. You can't justify this no matter how many angles that are out there. You can't, guys. You literally cannot justify this shit. It is what I would say one of those really red lines that even police officers know they can never cross. But if they did, it'd be like, how's this going to look on social media when people are basically crucifying me to no end and basically lynching me to no end? Yeah. That's what I think is happening right now, because you got a lot of police officers around the country who are looking at this and going, I can't defend this guy. I can't defend these guys. These guys are... They're done. There's no defending it. No matter how many times you could defend and justify their actions, there's like, no way. I'm sorry, dude. There's no defending you for this. There's none. You're on your own. So that's why I believe it's like this, guys. What's going to happen is this. These 5 police officers are going to face the same punishment what happened to that Minneapolis cop, okay? And what happened to that cop in North Charleston, South Carolina. It is. They're going to receive lengthy prison sentences, and I do believe this, that because they're black and the victim was black, the feds are going to have to figure out, well, do we go after hate crime charges or do we just ignore it? That's going to be the biggest sticking point on all this. That's going to be the biggest sticking point. It really is, guys. It really is. But believe me, guys, you can't defend this no matter how hard you try. You can't like cover for this. You can't. Even people who aren't in law enforcement are saying, even though I back the blue, this is something I cannot back anymore. This is inexcusable, okay? It is inexcusable, no matter how you slice it, no matter how you fucking call it. It is, guys. It really is, guys. It really is. But I feel sorry for the victim. And by the way, I found out that he worked at FedEx, Federal Express, FedEx that I work at. So that's a really sticking point in all this. It really is. But I'll say this. It's something you can't defend anymore. It is, guys. It really is. All right? Wow. What can I say? I gave you all an hour-long show. I'm amazed by this. I pretty am, guys. But I'll say this, man. I can't defend what Memphis PD has done. That's inexcusable. That's something you can't defend and cover for. Okay? That's something I cannot cover and protect. I can't. All right? So, anyway, guys, I'm here at Cumberland Farms. I do got to get my cup of coffee before I walk into the door. But I thank you guys for listening to Nicky's World. I'm Nicky, your host. I will see y'all soon. Bye for now. You just listened to an episode of Nicky's World. Thanks for listening. We'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.